Alright folks, hello and good morning, and oh, I have foolishly turned on my green screen. Let's not have that happen. I don't want people thinking I use this thing. There we go, fixed. But yeah, we've got an interesting bracket for the Olimoleague today. Lots of really great Korean signups. However, a bit of a dick move through seeding as Scarlett and Kelazhur are seeded against each other in the second round. We are, without a doubt, going to be trying to cast that match. To quote our wonderful admin, Olimoleague, welcome to Korea, Kelazhur.
I'll fight the other foreigner. Yep.
Actually, I said other, but I didn't realize M. Canning signed up again, by the way. Shout out to that guy. Really impressed us this morning in the Corsair Cup. I wish him the best of luck here on Korea. I actually, for about, I want to say not the last hour, but an hour before the broadcast, I was just kind of sifting through our highlights of like things people had clipped from the broadcast today, and I was really like, it's cool to look at and see like the moments other folks find interesting and neat. But what I thought was really cool, or a little bit sad, I suppose, but like what's cool is there was a couple of the M. Canning clips, but nobody clipped that one where he got like the 8 disruptors with one shot. So I went back and did that myself.
Do you see Kelazhur?
No, but I poked Scarlett.
Yeah, she's in the lobby. I guess I'll get you in here too.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, so for those who don't know, Kelazhur and Scarlett are both currently in the BaseTradeTV house in Korea. Kelazhur has recently joined, and Scarlett came back from WSG. Supposedly Major's supposed to be there now. So everything I had been told was Major's flights got screwed up and he actually had to go back home, and everyone was like sad and depressed about it. But apparently he got things sorted, so now Major is going to be at the house today or tomorrow.
Cool.
Oh, is she? What's happening the 19th?
She's in Paris.
Oh, cool.
Ah, yes. Is that Kelazhur?
I thought maybe North America all caps was gonna be Kelazhur, but apparently not.
Just, you're double checking.
What is that name though?
Neymar Jr.
Well, we know who Naruto is. That's not surprising, but
Yeah, right.
Well, looks like we got everybody about ready to go. So this first match, here we are casting a Korean Cup, right? You've got people like Gumiho and Patience and Innovation and Classic and these really big names, Byun. But we picked the 2 foreigners on the list because why the hell not?
Yep. This actually is a really fun foreigner matchup too. Like this is, I don't know, it's not two Team Liquid guys.
I know it's a different type of foreigner matchup. What's kind of neat though, these two, as mentioned, are in the house. I didn't realize, I kind of forgot the way we had organized the seating arrangements. Kelazhur, I guess, is literally behind Scarlett. Like this is a back-to-back playing. Well, not. There's like a good like 5 feet between them, but there's like back-to-back playing against each other. I'm like kind of wanting No Regret to film this so that you can catch like Scarlett peeking over her shoulder or something, like looking over, like, what you doing there, huh? How are all those 3 Reapers that you're probably making? Like,
that actually would be a really good thing to scout.
well, it is the Olimoleague, folks. So welcome one and welcome all. We already got some new subs coming in, but I actually want to talk about something a little bit not quite so related to the Olimoleague, and that's while we were offline. So after the Corsair Cup, in the 11-hour downtime between the Corsair Cup and the Olimoleague starting up, we got a pretty massive donation, $300+ from I'd Prefer Not To, towards our fundraiser, setting us over the $3,000 threshold, meaning that this player in the bottom right is going to have to do a bit of a cooking stream. In the bottom right, it's Scarlett.
In the top left is the Red Terran. He is Kelazhur.
Now, as Zombie Girl was kind of making some small talk with Scarlett, she has Nation War. She's just gotten back from WESG. I will tell you guys, hold your phones as throwback to earlier reference today. We're not gonna have the cooking stream come up anytime soon. I think after Scarlett's done with a little bit of her tournament circuit and she gets a bit of downtime, we'll talk to her about finding a date that works. But really cool, and we'll see if she cooks food for people in the house. Maybe if she loses to Kelazhur, he doesn't get food. I don't know, but yeah, this is gonna be kind of neat.
I'm not sure how that's gonna work.
Well, what do you know, Zombie Grub? Here we are on a map like Echo.
Oh my god.
In a TVZ, if you could believe it, almost less common than a Team Liquid versus Team Liquid matchup. We have 3 barracks worth of Reapers coming down.
It's also on the server that is good for both of them. What a surprise.
That's actually a fair point though, because most of the time it is going to be cross-server play. But oh, I see he was on the wrong side, I guess.
Yeah.
But the question is, like, will Scarlett be prepared for this? I mean, she went for the pool pretty quickly. She's already got speed on the way, and Kelazhur, frankly, is predictable at this point. Not to say that's a good or a bad thing, because he still wins games with these damn Reapers. But I think everybody knows Kelazhur's going 3 racks Reaper.
Yeah. Now.
Oh, maybe Scarlett doesn't, though.
Oh, no, I think she does.
These are like the 2 kill the SCV building the command centerlings, though. These aren't.
Well, now she recognizes, I suppose. Now she knows for sure.
Yeah, the Overlord Scouts.
I think it's always worse than the 2 lanes out, I guess, if you aren't sure. You made the early pool, but you also made the early pool, so you have this faster queen.
What I'm thinking here is she probably knew he would go for this, but on the off chance that he was like super metagaming her, play it with those 2 lanes, but not quite the case. Now, not a lot of damage getting done, but the first drone does die.
Right, so I was gonna say, Scarlett did defend against a 3-racks Reaper on Daybreak very well against Byun in Nation Wars, but Korean 3-racks are very different. Just the control is actually, I would say, worse than some, like the foreigners who are known for it, Uthermal and Kelazhur. Or if not their control, kind of the decision making with Reapers, as well as you foreigners just dedicate harder to it. So I was gonna say that she might have had like a hold on it, but that's not necessarily true. Well, I think she still gets tilted from it either way.
I like what both players have done here. Kelazhur's recognized the danger of Scarlett having some Lings escape. This, I think, for some people is like, oh, well, it's an opening. Just go kill those queens. However, I think he's more worried about his Reapers getting caught in the reinforcements. This many Lings are going to surround and kill the 1 or 2 Reapers rallying across the map, and that would be devastating for Kelazhur. But the funny thing is, once you hit about 9 Reapers, he's at 8 right now. Once you hit about 9 Reapers, you don't really care about the reinforcements anymore. You can actually bulk them up at home.
Yeah. Scarlett's actually buying quite a lot of time by just running around with these Lings.
And this has given her the time and the confidence to drone behind this. 7 more drones coming out right now. Creep spread is normally a pretty big priority for Kelazhur. Ooh, bit of miscontrol on that 1 Reaper.
Yeah, the fact that she got this creep tumor out where it is as well, I don't think it'll be targeted anytime soon, because if he targets the creep tumor, he's targeting the Reapers he just hopped up on, so...
Yeah.
He's gonna die.
It's a little bit hard to predict where that one is, too. When it's out in the open, it's very clear where the center of that creep is, but this actually... You kind of have to do some guesswork for it.
And I think at this point she might have officially held. It's always so scary to say that though, because as you were saying, anytime you get past those 9 Reapers and Lings, Queens, suddenly surround doesn't quite work out. But she even gets a Reaper on reinforcement, so he's stuck at 9 as opposed to I guess the 10 he would have had.
It's actually a scan for the tumors. It's a little bit bold, but again, the emphasis on killing creep tumors is what gives Reapers all this newfound power. It took 4 years to figure out for Terran, I guess, but Kelazhur's finally figured it out. Credit goes where it's due, though. This wasn't super all in out of him, where he's committing to the point of death and suicide. 3rd command center is finishing up as we speak. He's got tech labs, reactors on the right side of the wall, by the way, and looks like with spawn location, we'll make sure these get, I guess, safely researching.
I wonder how often Terrans don't go for the 3-racks because they spawn bottom right. And they're like, fuck that SimCity.
I have to imagine there is a degree of a factor, but I can't imagine it's something that's too impactful. 13% of Terran all decide not to on the bottom right spawn of Echo. No, I think if you're a 3-racks Reaper player, you're a 3-racks Reaper player.
It's true, but the more I think about it, the more I'm only thinking about when
this
Terrans
is really nice out of Scarlett.
There's so much chaos. CSG doesn't have enough grenades.
Well, right now what he's trying to do is like live on the in-between. He wants to stay alive while he's mid-air and have the grenades hit. The Reapers get some okay damage, but this was a really great move out of Scarlett. Normally this is far more difficult to clean up. Kelazhur also had gotten that hasher. I think one more volley would have actually gotten a cancel. So this was very dangerous for Scarlett.
It certainly was, and I mean, cleaning the Reapers up are good for a couple of different reasons. I mean, one, you don't have that potential, additional attack, because the medevacs are almost ready. And you attack with 9 Reapers to the right and medevacs to the left, and the Reapers can also do a lot of damage. And two, if they decide not to go for, like, the multi-direction route, or routes, who knows which one, you can also just go and, like, pair them up together. And, like, grenades in the main army are still very scary. She actually took out a good portion of the army.
I think in this instance, root is fine, considering that's the team Kelazhur is on.
Oh, yeah.
Also, recently having picked up Hero was a bit of a surprise announcement. And an interesting one, too, because did you catch Katz's little impromptu talk show he did with Petraeus?
No, I just heard they talked about the invasion drama.
Well, so there was that, but I listened to the whole thing this morning, and interestingly enough, they actually discussed Hero's salary and what they were paying him, and I was thinking, like, it's the Journey situation where we could have afforded that. We could have had BaseTradeTV Hero, whatever.
Well, maybe that just means other Koreans will be willing to get the same thing.
Yeah. Well, regardless of that, I think for now we'll suffice with the team house and just by proxy have a team. Not really at all. No ownership whatsoever, but you know, they're living in a house, so there's that.
Yeah. Scarlett's gonna deal with this almost no problem. Almost gets the medevac, and that would have been a really nice pick-off. And while she's pretty low on army supply, it just doesn't, it doesn't really actually matter. Her group spread's good, the queens are focus firing, and she has just enough banelings that he can't really focus fire them no matter how good he is. She just had faster upgrades and is on her way to Aspire.
Well, the upgrades are not just faster, but they exist. I don't believe Kelazhur has... Okay, he does have double engineering base. Sorry, excuse me. Finished up now.
Yeah, they just finished 1-1 as we started talking about it. What happens.
So I was looking at the production tab. I'm like, where's that 1-1?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. He finishes up 1-1, and I take all that back. I was a little bit worried. I thought for a moment he had no engineering base. I'm like, is he crazy? Focus fire is pretty nice. Gonna have to boost away from that queen, though. Double drops go towards the 4th base. I mean, it's maybe a little bit early for Scarlett to be trying to take this, but I like that she tried to get away with it.
Yeah, I think so. I think it, the time wasn't so bad as it was the fact that she was banking up for mutas that she didn't quite have yet. So, like, she didn't have the army to actually spread across multiple, such long spaces as Echo does start to get to as you get to 4th bases.
Good response out of Scarlett. She would have lost like 3 or 4 overlords to that small push. Drop in the 3rd base commences, just in a pretty nice spot in that mineral line. Without Banelings, breaking this won't be too easy.
He could have stuck around a little bit longer, but he did anticipate the Banelings being on the way. Also anticipated her trying to take the other 4th base, which happens a lot, actually. So good move by Kelazhur.
And he does lose his medevacs to the mutas. Nice transfuse last second out of Scarlett, but he has cleaned up a lot of creep while this goes on. And creep might not be the most tangible thing.
Lordy.
That one's not quite going to reach. But the Banelings get a fantastic hit.
Yeah, that was nice. That one hit actually was really quite good. So the medevacs might be able... No, they're not going to be able to.
For a brief moment, I thought she had manually detonated all her Banelings, and I realized, wait, those are Marine corpses that are currently dying.
Yeah. So, Widow Mines, they're also a bit sacrificial. Not too helpful there, and definitely worth taking out.
But the Marines are able to clean up a lot for this. He does split a little bit late, but he kills the Banelings, so Scarlett's pushing power disappearing before our very eyes. The mutilus count not too high, but it's picked off. She's killed about 3 medevacs so far. That's really not too bad.
She once again also has a bit faster upgrades, like 10 seconds here, but oh, no cancel. That kind of sucks. She's banking out on minerals, so I guess she'll be able to replace it, but since Kelazhur is pushing so aggressively, there's a possibility he attacks in without 2-2, and she does. A possibility, but not guaranteed. He's finishing up right now.
Well, I don't know how big of a deal that 2-2 is going to be, because Scarlett's only sitting on 8 Banelings presently. There's a lot of emphasis going to these mutas, and 13 of them, they're nice, but they're not going to kill Marines that easily.
The Baneling count might still be enough, even with the split.
Oh, the splits are pretty good, though.
+2 armor was not done for Kelazhur, but it just finished up as the mutas trying to take out those Marines, which is very helpful, but I think she needed a couple more Banelings.
Yeah, I think it really came down to the banelings for that one. And Kelazhur pushing to kill yet another hatchery. She does start one up to the south once again, but that's, you know, it's the kill down here, the cancel here, now a kill up here. That's 3 bases essentially gone for Scarlett, and Kelazhur moving towards his 4th.
It's still not damage enough to be like, well, Scarlett's just going to lose this game, because she was banking a lot of minerals.
Yeah.
I mean, if she was banking more gas as well, I don't think this would be even like a really good game, because I think she would have had enough banelings, and it'd just be Kelazhur pushing himself into a wall every single time. But she'd have a lot of minerals, so replacing hatcheries, usually if you try and defend it, is actually like, you know, bad, but it's still trading out okay.
Oh, Kelazhur's getting some really nice Widowmine hits.
Until that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The banelings all got taken out immediately. Another cancel on this base. Banelings roll in, but again, this is off of creep. This good thing Kelazhur cleaned all this up earlier. These medevacs, a lot of them very low, and I'm scared we're going to have a Keen situation on our hands. But for now, they stay alive, and they keep trying to heal these Marines.
Yeah. Scarlett really can't afford to retake another 4th at this point either. Like, her bank has been depleted.
He gets on top of the
He's really far
banelings.
into creep, so he might just be cleaned up once, but I think it might be a good enough
the
push.
splits, though, the last second. Nice reactions out of Kelazhur.
Yeah, if she had 20 mutas right now, this is like a ton of medevacs dead. She probably cleans up the reinforcements as they come in, but she's losing her mutas as well, and I think Kelazhur just wins.
It's a little too far gone at this point. That's what's really unfortunate about this for Scarlett, because I can see how she's trying to stick into it, but GG's get called, and Kelazhur, a.k.a. Neymar Jr., takes game number 1.
Wow, impressive stuff from Kelazhur. Apparently jet lag doesn't bother him much at all.
Well, I guess he's had time to sleep, because he did get there, like, yesterday for us, so it's probably he's been there all day for them.
Well, that would be the time you're affected by jet lag, wouldn't it?
Well, I don't know,
after?
because if this is a situation where he was sleeping and he woke up like 3 hours ago, he's good to go, right? Because let's not forget, his time zone's not that different from going to China, and he's been there for like a week.
Oh, that's right. He was also at China. Like, yeah. That's a good point. Then, yeah, he's probably fine.
By the way, this is loser's pick for those unfamiliar with the Olimoleague, so it will be up to Scarlett to choose the next map. Innovation. Ooh, Innovation plays against Tails, but I'm more interested in Innovation playing against Billowy afterwards. Billowy has proven himself in last week's Olimoleague, but also pretty good performance out of his GSL group too.
Yeah, his GSL group is actually pretty impressive.
But, thank you guys for joining us bright and early. I know that a good chunk of the regular folks are probably watching the legendary ASL match that's currently going on, and totally understandable. But if you guys want to watch that too, I just hope you come back when it's all over so you can catch more of the Olimoleague, because we'll be casting this start to finish over here.
Yep. I got a new sub. Thanks to what's up?
We got a couple of new subs. I haven't shouted anyone out since the broadcast started, so you can do the most recent one. I'll get the other ones.
Mr. K282, thank you for the Twitch Prime sub.
And then Paul Kaspersky was a brand new sub. Mr. Boris Makarov hit us up for 31 months. This has been 31 amazing months, and I look forward to many months more. Hearts. And then, wow, is that the famous YouTuber Loco? Loco subscribed to our channel an hour ago.
So he's watching GSL now.
Yeah, well, I'm teasing him because he was looking for replay packs, and I sarcastically said, like, sub to BaseTradeTV, and he did. I was like, okay, cool, here's all the replay packs, bro.
Yeah.
But okay, replay packs from this tournament, I should note really quick, are only obtainable through the Olimoleague Patreon. BaseTradeTV does not share Olimoleague replays, so if you guys want some of these, you're going to have to go over there. But we are in game number 2 in this best of 3. It is only single elimination, and sadly, both the foreigners have been tied together, and one's been given a knife. In the bottom left is going to be the pink Zerg player, Scarlett.
Only one?
Yeah.
That's
why he's up a game right now.
Oh, okay. In the bottom right is the red Terran. He is Kelazhur.
Now, again, both of these players are currently staying in our house in Korea, which is awesome. I'm a little bit... I realize this as I say this. You're going to have Cloudy and Time. I know Time's playing today. I don't know if Cloudy is. Cloudy and Time, Major Kelazhur, Scarlett, and No Regret. And then Zombie Grub's been to the house. Annie's been to the house. No Regret's girlfriend's been to the house. I'm like going to be the only guy who's never going to have gone to this house in the time period in which we got it.
Did she go? Is it a house site? Actually, yeah. Yeah, you're right. Yep. You're the only person.
There's a lot of really cool plans with the house too that extend even beyond BaseTradeTV, guys. Like, we're trying to help facilitate it, but the players inside have their own plans and goals for things they'd like to do. And I know specifically No Regret expressed interest in trying to run some sort of like faux team league, essentially, like house versus house, because there's gonna be like the Dead Pixels house that's going up. There's a couple of Koreans who've just kind of banded together to live together because it's cheaper. And I don't know, I think projects like that are going to be really awesome. I'm excited to see what they come up with on their own, but we'll definitely be supporting them as much as we can throughout the adventure of this next year.
For sure. No 3 racks here. Newcook Precinct is decently popular for it, actually, so Kelazhur could have, but they might have considered last game actually not the greatest start. It's always so hard to say the 3 racks Reaper fails. Because even if it doesn't do direct damage or it gets cleaned up eventually, it still is a question of like, did you force out enough lings from the Zerg player? Did you mess up their tempo enough for the Zerg player and all that jazz? So I don't know if you would say it was ever a failure, but it might have been this, sign of to do something slightly different, which in this case is just the regular 2-1-1. It's not different at all. It's like Kelazhur's 2 openers, 3 racks or 2-1-1.
Well, actually, I really like the choice not to go for the 3 racks based on how that first game went with it. Like, that really did not do a lot of damage to Scarlett. She handled it pretty well towards the end of it as well, and I think Kelazhur's probably thinking, like, okay, on one hand, like, I could cheese this out, but on the other, with how well she defended against it, maybe it's just not worth risking.
Yeah, perhaps. Evolution Chamber comes out really quickly. Scarlett has been doing what seems to be still kind of a newish way of dealing with the 2-1-1, which is to get a +1 carapace pretty quickly. And it'll actually, if you do it like absolutely correct, it'll finish right as the 2-1-1 hits, even if they go for like the immediate boost into your main base.
Yeah, so that's kind of an interesting point though, right? You can take the aspect of this where you have somebody like Snoot, who we saw earlier today, go like 14 queens deep. On the other hand, the armor upgrades kind of make up for having a couple of extra queens. I mean, the amount of damage it reduces is pretty significant early on.
Yeah, I've seen like another couple of Zerg players do this, and they get like the timing wrong, or just in general, they'll get a later +1, but it'll still be earlier than if they started 1-1 and like usual. And it doesn't seem to help out enough. But from what I've seen from Scarlett, it actually works out quite well. It ends up being a nice pick-off. Like, getting a full surround of that few Marines with that many lings was actually, I think, worth. And she did make an Overlord drop, so as soon as the 2-1-1 would hit, I would expect her to go in. She's actually going a bit early. I don't know if this is quite worth.
These lings are also not exactly high on health. Like, I feel a couple of these SCVs could even just punch down. Yeah.
Can try. Ends up getting 4, yeah. There was a bit better micro. Maybe you could have saved 2 of them. However... okay, I think that was actually worth that many lings, and the Overlord drop survives.
Yeah, I mean, it's better than having them just sit around doing nothing. The worst feeling is you got 20 lings out on the map, realizing there's walls up everywhere and window mines, you just can't do anything with them. So at least it does get something done. The Overlord should also scout what's coming. Kelazhur may stop off.
He's getting a Widow Mine in here, which I think is actually a really good move, considering he lost some of the Marines as opposed to go in it, so he's still too short.
Well, what I like about this, though, taking the time to maybe kill that Overlord guarantees there won't be more ling drops later. So, yeah, he loses some of the timing on the medevacs moving out. And Scarlett had time to build more lings and get in position for this, but stopping that threat is a lot of peace of mind back at home. He's not even going to drop directly in the main either. He's going to walk on in.
Well, obviously she would expect that, seeing the Overlord, seeing the medevacs go across the map like they did. So this is a bit more of a surprising path, since it wasn't quite the main base, nor quite to the entrance.
Yeah, she doesn't have a lot of time to sit there and not react to this, though. He picks up and he drops in the main. He'll get an Overlord to start. Widowmine's going to try and go down again. Could pick up and just drop towards that third base. Widowmine looking for a monster hit. Oh, ends up just splashing one of the medevacs. Yeah,
I was afraid it was going to help kill that medevac, because the queens were very close to trying to get down. That would have been very helpful for her peace of mind, speaking of it. Now, she does have that +1 carapace, but because the actual positioning of the army was the more complicated part, it didn't end up looking like it helped that much. She's still going to have 1-1 at the same time that Kelazhur does, but she loses the third base, and that's truly devastating this early.
Yeah, and her attack on the other side of the map looks like it's going to try and Bane bust through the natural. but I feel like Kelazhur's production should be good. Keep in mind, all these banelings, 6 of them are going to have to go down just to break the wall. He's got a ton of Marines behind us. If he's paying attention at home, oh no, moving out's like the worst thing he could do right now. Is he going to see this, though? No glimpse whatsoever of those banelings, so now he's completely out of position for this.
I'm not sure it'll matter, though. Like, it looks scary when they do this counterattack full of banelings and lings, and the SCVs will certainly go down. 1-1 going down is also a good pick-off, too, but these units should be cleaned up by Kelazhur's Marines. Focus fire on the banelings is really good, and Kelazhur did not take that much damage. Besides losing 1-1, the SCVs are totally fine at 37 right here, and 3 CC.
I mean, the 3 CC is probably the best part for Kelazhur, but losing the 1-1... Oh, bit of lag, perhaps?
Question.
Yeah, actually, that's a good question. I was going to say, though, losing that 1-1, though, is still going to hurt quite a bit. Because if nothing else, that screws with his timings. But that being said, Kelazhur... I'm really curious what that was about. Kelazhur does still have a pretty big army. He can still do a lot of drop harass while this goes on. And it looks like he will push back those lings.
Yeah. I don't think the upgrades are enough of a pick-off in this situation. She lost her third. She dedicated, obviously, some gas and minerals to the attack itself. And while her lings hitting surrounds are going to be more effective, she still has no way to properly deal with medevacs. And obviously did not have her own great mining. She actually spiked a little bit, of course, as Kelazhur was like running around with it, but...
Yeah, not dropping mules. SCV's on the way to the third, but now that there's 3 CCs, and that means 3 mules, he should pick that back up pretty quickly. Now, as he pushes in, he might be down in upgrades, but medevacs are pretty freaking wonderful. If the banelings can't get the connects, the lings still might not have the damage.
I don't know why he... So he focus fired the queen as opposed to the banelings, and that was... I really thought he was going to focus on the banelings, and then Scarlett would have been screwed, but...
Yeah, it was only like 3 banelings too, but I guess a little bit of priority on the units that can shoot down the medevacs, because the medevacs are at the core of what he has. Third base is definitely not going to get to land, and let's hope those depots are raised, because Scarlett's about to come in with quite a few more banelings and lings.
This might distract Kelazhur's main push, and the banelings might get connects, but there's no... Oh, they are.
That low medevac ends up killing all the Marines.
Yeah, that's pretty bad, actually, because now she has speed in these banelings, and okay, the depots are raised. That's actually very helpful. Liberators aren't that helpful, though, which is kind of funny. Oh, and that Widowmine splashed so many Marines.
And actually, I feel like it somehow managed to kill more Marines than it did lings, but Scarlett's got us around on that engineering bay. Once again, 1-1 is going to go down.
I mean, Kelazhur's looking to actually lose this game at this point. He doesn't have enough army here, but, like, his production, I guess, took a hit while he was trying to counter and micro, because he's banking quite a few minerals. And if he had 2 extra barracks pumping out Marines this, like, last 30 seconds, he probably has enough Marines to deal with this, no problem. But as it is, Scarlett just gained a lot of momentum from killing the upgrades again, as well as just killing so much army. Oh, how do you put down there?
I don't even know why that deep was down.
Okay.
Yeah, see if you get locked out of the base. He's like, what can I do while I'm here? I'll build a depot.
Yeah, kind of seems that way.
I feel like Scarlett has done a monumental amount of damage at this point, and it has very little for me to do with the SCVs killed or the army standing, but that is upgrades. She's about to have +2 armor. Kelazhur's on 0-0 still. Kelazhur is his new name, am I right?
He anticipates another baneling bust, tries to catch him before they morph, and was very close to doing so, but still no wall. Again, Liberators only help out the tiniest bit when there's just this flood of units. If you can catch them, I guess, in the Liberator zone, they do a lot of damage. They just run past it most of the time.
Yeah, also, I'm curious how the priority of targeting works on those Liberators. A lot of time they're actually both shooting like a single ling. I'm like, okay, you guys know what overkill is?
You're right. I'm very surprised that Scarlett ended up taking that game, but enough pressure and Kelazhur was starting to, well, he messed up his macro, and that really hurt the follow-up.
Yeah. But... yeah, that's the good thing for us as fans and broadcasters. That means we'll go to game 3. So a small commercial break while we get the lobby set up, folks. Stick around. We'll see you soon for map number 3. All right, folks. Game number 3. Things are all tied up now 1-1 in the Foreigner duel here on Korea. Spawning to the north side of the map. He has had the series tied up on him now. It is the Red Terran player from Root Gaming, Kelazhur.
In the bottom position, there's the pink Zerg. She is Scarlett. My cat is being a cat right now. Like,
wow.
to the nth degree. Like
That was
the whole I want to be outside. No, I want to be inside. No, I want to be outside. No, I want to be inside. God.
As a fellow cat person, I could sympathize, but just that opening statement. My cat is being a cat right now is pretty much the equivalent, I feel, to what I was saying earlier with like the one base opener. It's like, well, of course. Of course.
Such a cat right now. It's emphasis full.
All right. Well, Kelazhur is going to go for a bit of proxy here in game 3. Not sending out more than one SCV, though.
Yeah, I'm not sure why he's doing it. First of all, 3-Rax Reaper not proxy is still very scary on Bonnie. And then,
what if... This is me going super too far into this, but what if this isn't 3-Rax Reaper or Reaper even that much? It's like the barracks into the factory into the starport version we've seen.
Against Protoss?
Yeah.
The problem with that is that, you know, Zerg has fast units and plentiful units. So in the same way that you can't send one stalker in case it gets picked off or whatever they're producing, you don't have that same fear if they get like 4 or 6 lings. But it's a possibility if the Reaper just sticks around and saves the SCV every single time.
Looks like that's not going to be the case by it. But the reason I brought it up was Kelazhur has been experimenting and doing things that are a little bit different. Like proxy engineering bases, soak hits, and grip high ground vision. Weird versions of those Reaper builds that we've been talking about. I mean, I wouldn't put it past him to try and apply something strange, but it looks like it is not the case. So SCV just going to be doing some pre-leading in for that Reaper. Back at home, command center starts up and no second gas was taken.
I just don't know why you would proxy a single Reaper.
Timings, I guess. I mean, it's a long map, right? Like, this may not be... If this wasn't Bonnie, if this was, say, Daybreak, this might not have been the case.
Well, the thing is that 1 Reaper, even 2 Reapers, still isn't going to do a lot, especially if the person is anticipating a 3-Rax Reaper anyway and is very used to going for a pool first, because obviously the Queen is out no matter what your timings are, no matter how close you proxy that barracks. So, unless he was hoping that Scarlett would just be like, well, I guess he won't, I don't need to get early defenses, I'll get a later pool. I don't see how proxying the racks is going to be that helpful.
Oh, a grenade though. That like sent it over the Reaper's head. That was some Daredevil stuff, but...
Yeah. And now he has to send the racks back, doesn't get a reactor on it?
Oh my god. Zombie Grub.
What?
What do you call a queen that performs stunts?
What?
Evil Queen Evil.
Okay. I was really trying to... Like, stuntman? Like, what else is there?
I gotta write these down. Man, I feel like if I did this right, I could have like a whole stand-up list for But, okay. Lanes are gonna dart across the map. They're not gonna do anything, but they will get over and confirm no weird fast start was taken and keep Kelazhur from moving out too easily. I would like to see her take control of the watchtower with those, at least chill for the time being, and maybe catch drops as they move out. But did she, with the Overlord, see the starport timing? No, but she saw the factory timing, and that's good enough, I suppose. Yeah,
kind of. It is a possibility.
Kelazhur's playing mech.
Well, he has to fly that back.
Oh, I'm waiting to see. So hang on. So he's flying this back, but I'm wondering if this is actually going to be, like, does he build 2 more barracks? Because with Hellions and the Viking for the opener, you can totally play mech off the back end of this.
I think he still plays bio. Kelazhur's never been a mech player. Plus, like, the timing on Stim isn't too delayed by bringing this barracks back. It just didn't build the reactor factory.
But the tech lab doesn't look like the tech lab that would go on to a... Like, don't get me wrong. You're right. He is more well-known to be a bio player. But this tech lab feels like this is going to be for the starport. This will be not for Stim, maybe.
Yeah, it kind of looks that way, doesn't it? He's building a Liberator at the same time, though. Might just be awkward positioning.
No, it is Stim. Okay, so yeah, it is just awkward positioning. Be still, Rifkin's beating hard. I love mech, and I would have loved to see Kelazhur play it, but I'm just thinking even one step further. I'm surprised, actually, if he's willing to play something like Liberators, this proxy barracks instead of something like fast Liberator range?
Yeah, that would have been brutal. I still really don't like the proxy barracks. He probably has a very legitimate reason for doing it. It's not just like, well, I wonder if this will work type of thing, because I'm sure he's doing it all latter, but we just didn't really get to see how it's powerful in this specific game.
Well,
the question is always, like, does it do enough damage, though? And, like, this does enough damage.
Yeah, Scarlett didn't have a lot of lings waiting. She was very quick to get to that Spire. He scouts the Spire timing while this goes on, and while the Hellions may or may not do damage here, the grenades from those Reapers are still going to kill.
This is a lot of damage. 9, 10.
Yeah.
Maybe one more. Get the grenade! Get the grenade!
I was gonna say though, this isn't just a lot of damage because workers were killed, but it's a lot of damage because Scarlett very purposely skipped a lot of things to get to that Spire quickly.
Right.
So now the mutas have to pay for themselves. If they don't, then she's going to be behind, and it's not going to feel good. Back at home for Kelazhur. Stim should be finished by the time the mutas hit, but there's no turrets, and it's not going to be fun running around the bases without Medivacs out.
That's definitely the fault of Kelazhur, too. He has enough minerals, and he scouted the Spire. Okay, finally see missile turrets going down. And he is going to kind of overprotect the natural bases. That's the most common target. The hardest place to get your reinforcements to, as your barracks are in the main. Accidentally makes a Reaper as well. I think we've all done that, usually later in the game, though. But pretty sure it's supposed to be a Marine.
Well, again, Kelazhur, maybe he likes those grenades. You don't know. I will say this much, though. I like the idea of the turrets going down in the natural, because you can have all that production in the main, cover your main. He's also going to get that turret, or try to get the turret covering his tech lab. He definitely doesn't want to lose that stim or, say, combat shields later, but looks like not a problem for now. Turrets will keep the mutas from getting too far out of hand. Liberator's not going to be super amazing, but it can be spooky.
Yeah. We're kind of back into the era where making Vikings an emergency is better than making Liberators. You know, their range trumps the bad splash now of the Liberators. But the barracks production is also enough, so it's not like he is in a critical state of needing as much anti-air as possible. And Kelazhur looks very good in this game. Those Hellions that ran by really screwed up Scarlett's plan. She did skip a lot to get to 2-base Spire, and losing any amount of drones when you're already on a low economy was pretty bad. I mean, she has a 3rd base up now, but only at 49 drones, and having to make armor units because she knows Kelazhur is pushing out now.
It's really interesting to see the Mutalisk weapon upgrades being invested into as well. I think for a fairly large period of time, we're seeing a lot of players go for the Carapace, reducing damage of Liberators and Marines and all that goodness. But for me, to see weapons out of Scarlett, looks like she's going to be playing a little bit heavier on the mutas. So losing any early on is pretty rough for her to have to deal with. Meanwhile, that attack in the bottom left, I guess the Liberator's not going to be super amazing. It was a terrible Liberator, frankly.
Right? Combat isn't quite done, so Kelazhur won't be pushing in before that. But he does have upgrades, and almost guaranteed will take an army fight with upgrade leads. But this would be following a Viking.
I think he was trying to repair.
Yeah, you're right. Barely wasn't full health, but so switches to priorities, I guess, to take care of the creep to the right side. A little surprising. Generally, the focus of the Zerg is to get the 4th base on the left as opposed to the gold. So Terrans usually just let the creep spread go on the right side, but not Kelazhur.
Oh. We're going to have to pause the game. This isn't in the map pool. Do you have admin?
Oh, shit. Yeah.
So, Olimoleague came to the chat, laying down the rules. We have been casting so many things. This map actually won't count. We're going to have to just leave and pick a new one. Little bit awkward, but despite the fact that they have played 9 minutes in, it won't count for anything because these are the rules. So that's just that, actually. To awkwardly leave and remake. Yeah, so for those who don't know, by the way, the map pool for the Olimoleague has always, through its last year and a half, been 2 maps shy of what the regular map pool is. So it's Daybreak, Echo, Habitation Station, Overgrowth, and Whirlwind. And we so rarely remember that there's that issue because I guess it's just we cast so many other tournaments that use the whole map pool. So I think this is the 3rd time in 2 years this has happened.
Wait, Newkirk isn't in the map pool either?
Nope.
So we played on Newkirk though, so game number 2 didn't count either.
So it's 1-0 for fucking foreigners coming to Korea, ruining our Oh, that's so terribly awkward. But it should be noted that this is actually a precedent that's been set for a very long time. There's absolutely no picking on players or singling them out, but oh dear. So it's 1-0 for Kelazhur, and Scarlett's map pick, I suppose, is where this puts us. So awesome.
Wow. You know, one map you know,
One map
it
is-
happens. But two
Two
maps,
maps.
I feel like maybe we're also a little bit to blame.
I mean, nobody realized, and ay. Well, I'm gonna bust out a zombie girl reaction image on Twitter while we wait. I'm gonna tag you in this too. That'd be even better. I did manage to find the clip that this. Do you remember that sub thing was from?
The what? Sorry.
Where you're like 10,000 subs. What is this, a meme that I don't get? Because we got that weird donation. Yeah, because we were talking about Subway sandwiches while you were talking about subscribers, and you thought it was a meme we made up while you were in France. But okay, so awkwardly, it is the 4th game in the series as we get into game number 2. It's 1-0 for Kelazhur. I'm just having trouble dealing with how incredibly awkward this situation is. But you know what it is? Maybe. Here's okay, tinfoil hats on, right? Rift Conspiracy if you got it in chat. Illuminati if you don't. Kelazhur and Scarlett knew you guys wanted to watch them so badly. And they knew that people would miss out in a very quick best of 3. So the best thing they could do instead was show you 4 to 5 games at a best of 3. give the fans what they want.
Yeah, that sucks. To have 2 games not count. I mean, for Scarlett, she was probably okay with the 3rd game not counting because we lose so many drones. But
they've also both kind of shown some very important strategy choices too. But all right, folks, welcome back. Game number 2 or 4, depending on your perspective. It is 1-0 for her opponent. Spawning in the bottom left, she is going to be the pink Zerg player, Scarlett.
in the top right, as the red Terran, he is Kelazhur. So
I want to find like a Bart Simpson like soundboard. Ay caramba.
I guess everyone asking why it doesn't count and like it should count and blah blah blah, and it's just a little bit of history of the Olimoleague, I suppose. When the Olimoleague was first created, it was actually during a very bad map pool where people really legitimately did not like the 2 maps that we took. I actually think it was like 3 maps no one liked, but we could only realistically take out 2.
Yeah.
So, you know, it was actually a wise move, and then there was another season where it was also a wise move, then there was the Dream Pool where it was also a wise move. There's been seasons where people weren't going to choose those maps anyway. But
it's been a trend, and frankly, it's made the Olimoleague a little more unique in that regard, too. Because back in the days when we had best of 7 finals, you know, rest in peace, you would have repicks of maps, which was also a little bit more exciting. Seeing Overgrowth twice in a series if you know, that was the great map to play on and stuff. So it's unfortunate because Olivia's, I guess, feeling the need to defend her decision in chat, but I want to make it clear she's actually fully in the right. The players are the ones who are in the wrong. Mistakes were made. We've all accepted it. And no one, like, I don't think anyone's particularly pissy about this. I'm sure the fans on behalf of Scarlett might get outraged because she loses her victory, but she didn't even make a fuss in game, guys. So I wouldn't blow this up to be bigger than it is. And more respect to Olivia for enforcing the rules. I think there are other admins out there who would cave to peer pressure under situations like this.
yeah, it's true. It's true that. It's also, like, even though this is a really awesome best of 3, this is actually the first best of 3 today, and it's better to have this happen, I suppose, than in the semifinals or the finals.
Yeah. This is definitely better to happen now rather than later. There you are in the best of 5 finals. You're on map 5. It's tied up 2-2, and you realize the last 3 games haven't counted.
Yeah. Yep. So, yeah, it certainly makes the Olimoleague more unique. But...
You know, I'm gonna throw some shade though. You know what? I'm gonna take the gloves off. This is where Olivia will be at fault though. She's probably watching her boyfriend or whatever stream. What's his name? Crunk or something. So she wasn't watching this stream and policing to let us know. He's so hunky.
Talks squirrel all the time.
Crunk is so hanky.
Squeaker. Squeaking.
Squeak, squeak. No, but again, simple things happen. But this is we're done with the talk about this. We're moving on. Game's already underway in Kelazhur. It's not done anything too weird this game actually. A couple Reapers just catch Scarlett a little off guard, and I love this. There's no visual indicator like for Kelazhur to see this, guys. Like, put his vision on for a moment. There's no visual indicator like a Widow Mine or anything. You have no idea where that creep tumor is unless you saw it go down, or you're really good at like triangulating the middle of the creep. God, I want someone to do like some CSI level like science montage for Terran players figuring out what the creep tumor is in the middle of creep. But yeah, Kelazhur's pretty good about it.
Do you see the cat post on Reddit where
that's
it's, like,
exactly what I was thinking about. Like,
yeah, but it'd be exactly like that, where like, you know, you, the Reaper player, goes in and you're like, okay, well the creep tumor must be here, and you finally dive in for it and then just surround your Reaper and get it killed.
Yeah. I think that what's nice though to talk about Kelazhur's playstyle a little bit. He does put a lot of emphasis on killing creep tumors early, and obviously he cleans up the creep later, but this is huge because it will take away transfuses that queens would otherwise have. You're not gonna have as many tumors out, yada yada yada, but a bit of an awkward split. I don't think that was intentional. I think you got a little bit AI'd on there. So that Reaper not with the army.
Oh, Kelazhur bringing out a Hellbat build. Yeah, I did mention, I was going to mention that along with 3x Reaper and 2-on-1, the two bread and butter builds of any Terran, Kelazhur also has done Hellbat builds. The only thing he doesn't do is mech, basically. Like, he'll even do Liberator builds and whatnot, so it's not too surprising to see him mix it up, but it might be surprising for Scarlett, who has not dealt with a Hellbat push yet in this best of 5. So,
stop saying best of 5. It's only a best of 3. You're gonna confuse people.
I like this variety from Kelazhur.
Yeah, me too. It's also Hellbats really have not sold me. Most of the Terran players we've been seeing do Hellbat builds always flop and always look bad in tournament play. But the exception is we've actually seen Bjorn bringing it back more recently, changing some of his builds up as it looks like people have figured out his 2-on-1 at least. So he's proven that it can work, but Bjorn is like the gold standard for Terran, like the best of the best.
Yeah, he is. Kelazhur decides not to go for the...
drunk. Oh, on the hot scale, I'm at 10.
Not to go for the armory, though, or the Hellbat push. I guess losing a Hellion and seeing as many legs as there were just told him he didn't want to do it.
That clip's never gonna get old for me. Not because of the sound. Like, yeah, you got a seductive as hell voice, girl, but it's that wink.
Wink?
When she give you that look at the club, you know what I'm saying? Like, But they get a shifty eye shadow craft. $10 comes in as Zombie Girl plays out to say, "You guys are the best. Am I the only sub from Singapore?" That's a great question. Real quick, you can't see chat right now, right?
No, I can see. Oh, not no.
No. So take TV space like it's a never-ending best of 3.
I don't know why.
Kelly says go remake bot. I resume from replay.
Yeah, it's gonna crash. It's luckily it's not my entire computer though. It's just StarCraft.
Well,
no, it's my entire computer. Just kidding. It's gonna crash.
Okay, well, I'll see you in a few minutes after you finish restarting. In the meantime, though, thank you, Bractimus, for the 23-month resub. And oh boy, I wish I could show you guys this. Zombie Grub's face has frozen in the most horrendous expression as her computer crashes on her. Too good, too freaking good. But all right, so we're not gonna remake. We're not gonna because I can still cast it out. We'll just see how this goes. If Scarlett defends this attack, it could be fantastic, but it doesn't look like Kelazhur is going too gung-ho to rush out with his Hellbats. Maybe scared off by the defense he scouted already, maybe just wanted to put more priority on his production. Either way, that armory ends up going to vehicle armor upgrades, which is really interesting. I'll talk about that in a second, but he never pushes with the Hellbats, so just kind of chilling at home. Scarlett gets wind of this, and decides to take her fourth, realizing she's got some breathing room. Drone count up to 63 is pretty nice too, but going back to the vehicle armors for a moment. Whoa, that's a huge income spike. Oh, because he's transferring SCVs. It's like WTF. It's weird because normally you don't see this investment rarely, if at all, but I suppose this will benefit Widow Mines. It'll help the Hellbats a little bit, but most importantly, it'll help reduce the damage the medevacs take, and the mitigation will pay off eventually over time. I mean, keep in mind, we saw that one clip. If anyone has that clip from earlier where Alive lost a whole army, like 80 plus supply in medevacs because of Glaiveworm bounces, you'll understand the idea of wanting that mitigation. But also, Kelazhur in game 1, or was it 2, maybe 3, I don't know, but at some point in this series, his medevacs were all dangerously low, and he had them like in the red for the longest time. So again, that armor upgrade could certainly be helpful, and stopping the Queen, stopping the Mutalists, what have you. Every little bit of damage mitigation goes a long way. Now, Scarlett's production is kicking in, but her speed's not done yet. The Spire's not finished up. Kelazhur's I guess good for Scarlett spending time slow pushing as he cleans up creep in the middle of the map. This gives Scarlett time to have those banelings hatch for those upgrades to finish up. As the 2 drops head towards the main, she did just finish making 14 banelings, but looks like they're over at the 3rd. So she is going to respond to this a little bit late. Not necessarily her fault, but takes time to get here. The banelings don't even come on in. She's actually going to respond back to the right. Medivacs getting a little bit low from those queens. Just putting some pepper. Yeah, it looks like the Banelings should be able to clean this up. Speed did finish up after all, and we see that extra 5 health paying off. Olimoleague gets a pretty nasty friendly fire hit, but does take out the Banelings in the process, so Kelazhur picks up. Meanwhile, continue to chase down queens and pick off creep tumors. He has taken a lot of control outside the front of Scarlett's base, but not getting to the mineral lines, not really hitting any of the core parts of her base. Bunker in a wall, but not a full wall, is a little bit awkward. There we go. The wall prevents ling run buys, but more importantly will soak 6 Banelings, and that can go a long way, all things considered. But Scarlett looking to go to Hive Tech beyond this. Her 2-2 will be finishing up shortly, and the Infestation Pit has just started. The Spire hasn't seen a lot of action, but we are finally up to about 10 Mutalisks for her. See how those hold up, because Kelazhur's army pushing looks good. He's up 20 supply right now. Upgrades are about even. He's going to be behind 2-2, albeit very, very briefly. I really want to know the dynamic. I know that in StarCraft there's some critical upgrades we always talk about, right? Zealots 2-shotting lings, 1-shotting with Banelings, stuff like that. But I wonder at what point vehicle weapon upgrade, or sorry, excuse me, vehicle armor upgrades actually affect Terran, because we don't see that upgrade come out too often. Like maybe it's just that extra second you need for the Olimoleague to arm and hit the mutas. Sorry, the spacebar there through a hiccup, so awkward. But okay, right side of the map, the creep tumors are still going strong. That is one of Scarlett's strengths and has been for years at this point. A lot of us know she is quite good at spreading creep. So even though Kelazhur has been cleaning up a lot of this and been at the heart of the army, Scarlett still, with all these creep tumors, buys more time. And it looks like there's a drop in the bottom right. Nope, excuse me, it was just simply a Liberator. Cancels a couple of the Mutalisk building, but on creep, perhaps a little too deep. The Banelings rolling in. They have no problem connecting to these Marines. Kelazhur loses that army lead that he had worked so hard to obtain. And behind this, those medevacs have got to get out of there. Those Mutalisks are looking to pounce. Left side, we got that bunker up. There's a couple depots, but more than enough Banelings to bust through that wall. And if she does, those lings will go crazy. Kelazhur's army is not in a position to deal with this right now. Yeah, Banelings coming in. They do go for the SCVs, but he pulls them out pretty quick, so he should be able to keep the workers alive. Meanwhile, though, right side's got the mutas heading right towards the main. There's no turret set up over there. Looks like the Banelings get wasted on some Marauders. A little unfortunate for Scarlett, but she might just be able to run away with the mutas. Kelazhur's got 13 SCVs up here that are all waiting to die. Oh, that feels bad. Well, 16 workers die. Scarlett is finally chased out of the base. Kelazhur's natural getting dangerously low. Main base is pretty much mined out already, and third base having just been set up recently. He is going to be worrying about money. Meanwhile, we look at Scarlett's side of the map. Like, what the hell is this? 85 drones, 3,500 minerals per minute. Forget everything I said earlier about the income maybe being temporary. Look at that graph. Scarlett is just running away with the money this game. Looks like Kelazhur wanted to take this base. I guess he left this as a plain command center because he wanted to make a planetary out of it, but oh, that annoying ling landing. Olimoleague gets a decent shot by the looks of it. 8 kills racked up on it. The left side under attack once again. He pulls away, but Scarlett killing the orbital is going to be more than enough damage. The Marines run into only to their death. Oh, Kelazhur is making some mistakes, to be certain. As the Liberators do push this back, it's a small moment of relief as he starts getting the base up on the right, but Scarlett's already in a position to try and attack into that. Looks like Marauders will once again soak up a good chunk of the Banelings, but still not enough. More reinforcements coming in. Scarlett might be diving a little too deep at this point, though. Her army supply is lacking, and Kelazhur's is actually growing further and further. Like, despite the fact that he's got no money, he maintains an army lead. but it's at the cost of a lot of workers, and that army lead will only be here for a very short amount of time. Scarlett's moving towards 3-3. She's got adrenal glands queued up. She's also got infestors coming out, and oh my god, infestors are such a smart move this stage of the game. She could rush out to Ultras, and she could possibly get those units onto the field, but frankly, Kelazhur's army looking the way it does, a couple fungal growths, maybe 1 or 2 banelings rolling into them, and that's going to be the end of everything. It'll be the end of days. It'll be the apocalypse. But Liberator's set up on the ramp. Just buy a little bit of time for the Marines to get in here and snipe off a base, pay Scarlett back for some of that damage, but still not fully recovered back at home. But she's also a little bit complacent with the build. 3 health gets out of there, barely alive. Kelazhur also possibly backed into a corner, taking the fight where he can. Liberators are staying in splash mode for air, but the banelings are already in splash mode for ground. All the Marines die, all the King's horses and all the King's men could not put Kelazhur back together again. That army is not going to be replaced. GG's get called, and Scarlett will still repeat history here with a 1-1 to tie things up. If you're hearing the Skype sounds as I give Zombie up a call, try and get her back on. Hey, welcome back.
What's up?
How you doing?
Okay.
So Scarlett won that game. That wasn't clear. I think 2 minutes ago that was probably fairly clear, but
No. As of right now, Kelazhur still has an even army supply.
okay, there's gonna be a bad engagement in there somewhere, but it'll be Kelazhur's pick for the last map, and let's hope he picks one that's in the pool this time, as we don't want to have to go to game 6.
It'd be really bad of him to be like, you know what's a good map? Newkirk. Let's go for it.
Let's see the maps remaining, because we played what, Echo and Overgrowth, so
Right.
it's
Daybreak,
either
Hunter's.
yeah. I would like to see war one personally.
Happy sensation.
Well, looks like Kelazhur just hates me then, I suppose. That's clearly the logical conclusion to draw from that. But we're gonna well, no, we'll just hop into the game. Screw it. Just gonna take a break, but looks like everyone's already ready to go, so we won't waste any time.
Kind of.
Well, okay, we're gonna go to a break because one of the players isn't here. See you guys in 2 minutes. All right, folks, we are in what is game number 5, but match number 3 in this series. The only way this goes better is if this stalemates out. Kelazhur floats a building and Scarlett has no workers or something like that, but we'll see how it plays down. In the top right side of the map, he is playing for Root Gaming. It is the Red Terran player, Kelazhur.
His best of 3 has taken an hour. In the top left is the pink Zerg. It's Scarlett.
I'm actually starting to understand why sometimes parts of the bracket fall behind. There are people in the round of 8, and we're still in what is technically the first round. The winner of this does advance on to play against Classic, though, so that might be fun to follow and watch, depending on how this plays out. Top side, though, at the same time, round of 8 might be Solar versus Innovation. That's not a match we can miss. There's a lot of really good games going on for the Olimoleague today. While we may be stuck in this eternal hell that is this best of 3, this non-stop purgatory. Hey, that rhymed. Crank is streaming some of his matches as well. I know M. Canny was playing. I don't know if he's still in there, if he's been knocked out, but looks like he's actually playing against Gumiho. Speaking of which, so other streams are definitely available for the other games that we can't cast right now, because we Can you imagine what this would be like? Actually, I realized if we didn't cast this, they would have played these maps out, reported the scores. Olivia would have gotten the replays and been like, "Nope, gotta redo it all."
Yeah, because I don't think anyone brought it up, but if anyone was wondering, like, what happens if we don't cast these and they play on the wrong map, so they just get a free pass? The answer is no. Replays have to be sent, and then she can be like, "Nope, go back."
Yeah, and real quick note on said replays, guys. Again, the reminder is that if you want really cool replays from the Olimoleague, you have to do it through Patreon. BaseTradeTV shares all replays from all casts we do, with the exception of this one.
Yeah.
And hopefully with that flood of, like, what we had, like, 50-something sub-train yesterday, all those people appreciate the replay packs already sent out.
Hell yeah, that was a good day. Fun matches. And the Olimoleague is living up to its hype, to its potential with all these awesome matches today. Everything's working out as planned now that Kespa's out of the way.
You sound like an evil villain, when really Kespa's like the evil villain. Now that we've got that pesky Kespa out of the way, we can get through with our nefarious plans.
Yes, quite. Oh no.
Oh, that still worked out. I thought for sure certain Kelazhur would have pulled that SCV back at the last second, but certainly annoying. You have to send another SCV down. Hardly the end of the world.
Well.
Might be actually, yeah. 10 links coming out from Scarlett next.
Yeah, I wondered if this would be in time. I think she's thinking speed finishing up on its Haberson station, but it's not in time. So, no cancel on the command center. Might still be able to kill the Marines that are out. Kelazhur, I thought, saw that. Yeah, he's gonna pull everything back into the main base.
Yeah, I guess we'll finish up the overworld and flood it. That's probably a safe way to play this out.
Yeah, very safe. Nice.
But while this goes on, and it does disrupt his economy, we will still be getting the 211 underway. Nice thing is, you know, you're relying on gases from the main and not the natural or anything strange like that. So a little bit annoying. Hopefully, though, he doesn't lose anything before he has to pick up and go. He does need the natural base to get going soon, so he can't just stay held up and hiding in that main. He will have to secure this base. Scarlett, in the meantime, though, looking for something a little cheeky.
Last time she got 4 SCVs with this drop, but she also got like a handful of Marines. It ended up being a very decent trade for the use of Lings, but I'm not sure she's going to get the same thing here. She might get the SCVs, but she might not get any of the army.
I really like this distraction, though. Like, look over here, Kelazhur. Stay in your natural base because, yep, already in your mineral lines.
Well, this ends up being very nice because she gets in the natural mineral line, too. So this is actually really good damage.
This is almost like a little bit of a meme, like this you versus the guy she tells you not to worry about. Look over here, look over there. But 8 SCVs go down, and most of the Lings are alive still. I think if she wanted to, she really could have actually saved those into the Overlord even, but regardless, 8 workers killed on top of a delayed command center. Like, this was not a great opening for Kelazhur.
I think that was a good use of her Lings. She droned pretty hard behind it, so she's at 44, which is decent right now. The only concern is that she doesn't have a ton of Lings defensively. In fact, she's only at 5, and she's only making a couple more. And that is a true concern. If Kelazhur just drops immediately and maybe doesn't even bother scanning, he could get a lot of damage done. But he doesn't know that, you know? Like, he could think there's 20 Lings ready to go. Oh, she's rallying badly, too. And gonna get supply blocked. Oh no. Oh no. I don't know if the damage isn't worth dying. She might die.
That's awkward. Well, third base is certainly going to go down to nothing else. Positioning in the mineral line should secure Kelazhur to the spot, but the fact that she's come so far out with her queens means he can pick up and go to the natural after this. She is trying to focus fire down and keep that from happening. He's waiting for the last second to kill the hatchery. He wants to keep using the belly against Scarlett, but this is where she needs to kill her own hatchery maybe and use broodlings against Kelazhur, but maybe a little bit too far gone at this point. This is game.
Damage.
This blows me away. What?
Scarlett not making enough Lings fast enough to defend against this. 20 Lings on creep with queens. That defends this. This sends Kelazhur packing to the main or somewhere else, right? But she was flooding Lings 2 at a time, and
it's the timing on it too, right?
Bad.
Like if there's some world where she's able to get those out 5 seconds sooner, 2 seconds sooner, I think she has those in position. She's able to not let him get to such an easy spot behind hatchery. But at the same time, credit goes to Kelazhur. I loved what he did there. Intentionally not finishing off that hatchery. He didn't want more surrounds. He didn't want broodlings on his ass. He decided to just leave it alive and focus fire down the queens and the Lings instead. Brilliant move.
Right. Yeah, and at that point, it might have just been worth saving at least the queens and letting the hatchery go. But she lost the queens as well, and that's really what makes this bad for Scarlett. Like, it's one thing to lose 300 minerals and a drone, I suppose, but it's another to, like, lose your Lings and your queens along with it. It's like, that's just a lot of resources lost, a lot of larvae you're going to not have, and a counterattack is probably your best idea, and it's at a pretty perfect time as Kelazhur picks up 2 medevacs to go. I love this. There is a Widow Mine.
Was a Widow Mine. That splash damage really shouldn't reach behind. He must be able to do that, but no balance complaints over here. Chaos ensues. More Bailey's going to have to go off on top of those depots. 6 of them are going to have to break that. Kelazhur, though, does go for the drops while this goes on. Scarlett might be getting a lot of damage done, but she's also taking a lot of damage at the same time. But maybe, just maybe, this ends up being a... I'm praying for a stalemate. I want this to go to a stalemate, frankly. I want her to kill everything and Kelazhur be left with nothing except for floating buildings.
30 SCVs. That's usually pretty devastating with the damage, but she can't defend at home, whereas Kelazhur eventually defended at home.
Yeah. I mean, there's a couple of buildings that were burning. Some things got low, but he goes back to mining, and mules will be the imbalanced carriers of this game. Now, I'm not sure when she managed to sneak in this 4th base. It just kind of feels like it appeared out of nowhere, but this will give her mining. But mining isn't the problem. It's production of units. Oh, well, the banelings helped with some of that issue.
Yeah, you did not expect to see banelings. And they're even going to have speed, funnily enough. And that means that Kelazhur still has to be careful. But yeah, with 2 bases and mules, he's going to have enough production just to swarm eventually. Scarlett loses 15 less drones, and I think it's still a very interesting game. But she did, and I think it's still Kelazhur's. Oh no! Not being careful enough.
No, that will take away a good chunk of his army and allow her to start counterattacking again. But this is where I worry she gets too deep, like what we saw earlier. You go too hard for killing Kelazhur, and in the process, lose so much of your army that you can't defend back at home.
Yeah, right.
I think part of that too is I think she knew drops were coming, but she was really hoping he would have turned around and been more scared and stayed at home. So the decision to take damage at home for Scarlett was not an easy one, but that risk sometimes pays off, and in this case, did not.
She's really gonna have to hope for Kelazhur to just move into the baneling. She can't make enough to truly be swarmy, and then, well, her slings aren't gonna really help either.
Not even catch him. You just hope you move commands into him. That's the only prayer at this point.
Yeah. Or that your upgrades are somehow like amazing. You only managed to get the armor out.
You know, Burrow could be something cool bringing her back into this if that was the case. Like if guerrilla tactics and sneaky moves were what she needed. But I think her macro's pretty solid. Both players actually have really great macro, but it's 2 bases versus 2 bases still because Scarlett's still not properly mining. So bottom left base is an oddity because Kelazhur doesn't know about this. So
that's really important.
Yeah, he's been so content constantly flying over the gold and confirming nothing here while simultaneously killing this base. So for him, he might really be underestimating Scarlett.
Drops are something that she can also deal with. It's really going to be the final, like, the push through the middle with everything that he has and a rally that's going to make it so complicated for her to defend. Being down an army supply. Drops, you have units in position, they can't unload. That's easy peasy as long as she has sights, and she has a lot of overlords. But anything else, then it's going to be really tough for her to defend. Even with better upgrades. Not for long, though. And no creep spread. I really wish she would go for Burrow. I think that'd be very helpful.
Liberators might just be the Grim Reapers of this game. Kelazhur does a great job distracting in the middle, and Scarlett did predictably pull the queens to shoot away at the medevacs, thus leaving her nothing to stop the Liberators in the main and the natural. But again, Kelazhur doesn't know about the 4th. So sitting down here, she just happily mines. He flew over and saw creep, but that's not so weird at this point because Scarlett should have creep spread down there.
Oh no. Oh no. Oh god. She needs the banelings to hit. Oh, she needs the banelings to hit. Oh, they would have. That's decent. So loses 14 drones though.
Yeah, unfortunately, Queen in the main no longer standing. Drones harvesting gas absolutely gone. 74 army supply to 36. I think at this point, even if you do move command into the banelings, it still might not be enough.
Yeah, right. And 20 drones less, that puts her in a very bad position. And queenless as well.
Has she totally out of queens? No, she's still got a couple.
She's queenless where it counts.
No, because even in country, Canada still has the queen to an extent.
Wow. Fine. I get Canadian, I get it. Okay.
By the way,
she can't take out the medevacs.
I really think it would have been cool to have this Overlord come back home. I would have loved to have seen some Queen micro maybe to do with the Liberators, question mark. I'm just trying to think like what she could do at this point, but it is one of those things where maybe she's too far behind and no amount of really super sick, amazing micro could save her.
I think that's the case. With 20 more drones, this actually might be a very good game, even though I thought Kelazhur would have it for sure. But to have her losing 20 to 2 Liberators, I think it is officially too bad of a game for her to win.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still pining for her. I would love to see her make magic happen, and then suddenly this becomes like the epic game where the casters were wrong and you want to watch that video, but unfortunately, Kelazhur is being very cautious. He's not losing a lot of these Marines. He's not eating banelings carelessly. He was earlier, and some mistakes were made, but he's really cleaned up his act since then.
The one bad thing is that he doesn't have any splash, so like there is a possibility that with, 10 banelings, they get the hits, or they at least continue to deter him from cleaning up bases. But that's only 5 banelings. Still enough to scare him. Like, she's gonna hope for like 10 more engagements where he's just scared to do anything. Because of course Kelazhur is not. I mean, he's trying to run out of minerals, you know, and he actually bothered to invest in a 3rd base. Which if he hadn't, he might have found himself lifting command centers and eventually losing them to like run bys and whatnot.
He still may end up doing that though, because both his main and natural are pretty much mined out. So this is gonna be like, you take the 3rd over here, you lift up the natural here, you take the main down. Like you got to triple expand.
That's probably what he's gonna do. You're right. It's Scarlett, despite losing 20 drones, is managed to get up to 60 drones somehow with decent upgrades. She's actually still gonna be matched in upgrades. I don't know how this happened. And she has a lot of banelings on the way. And Kelazhur might not predict this, right? Like, you gotta be thinking,
Well,
she's, you know, hurting.
that one of mine got a pretty nice shot. We'll see if the other one does. 13 kills on that bad boy. That's what's going to be tough for Scarlett at this point. This is where I'm sure there's like a little bit of balance winding that might come out of this game, but the Widow Mines actually don't go off on much until the very, very end, and then it's a fantastic hit at that. Kelazhur now has nothing really to stop him. All the lings currently are in production. 26 are going to spawn, and no banelings are currently on the map.
Yeah, that was truly all in. When the Zerg sends all of their banelings towards it, they're supposed to clean it up entirely. If she has 6 emergency banelings in the back, then him pushing on a creep would have been suicidal. But he knew there wasn't. That's the end of the game. Well, that was an interesting one, at least.
1 hour and 15 minutes. Clock it for a best of 3. 5 games. GG's. No stalemates. I almost feel like this is a riddle, right? Like, how does a best of 3 take 5 games with no stalemates? Tell me. Oh, you playing this in the wrong maps and remake them a bunch. Awkward. But okay, so congratulations to Kelazhur, who will advance onto the brackets and go off to fight against Classic. We may follow him to do that, or we may end up going topside for innovation. There's a lot of really good games to start picking from, but we did get far, far behind in the bracket from that game. So either way, stick around, guys. We'll see you in a couple minutes.